Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're your guides as we really get into the architecture of powerful learning programs. Our focus today remains on the AI Prompting for SET Success course.
That's right. We've been exploring its systematic structure, moving from the foundational ethics and diagnostics in modules 1 and 2, through the core content work, using AI for math, reading, and writing in modules 3, 4, and 5.
And by the end of Module 5, as we discussed, the student theoretically has the knowledge, they've practiced generating questions, they understand the concept.
Theoretically, yes. They've got the tools, the formulas, the grammatical rules, but that's knowledge in a vacuum almost.
Exactly, because knowing trigonometry is one thing, but applying it correctly under the pressure of a ticking clock with high stakes, that's a whole different ballgame.
Completely different.
And that shift, that critical pivot, is what brings us to today's focus. We're moving from knowing what to do to knowing how to perform. We're diving into Module 6, Timed Practice in Pacing Strategies.
This module is, well, it's where the rubber meets the road. Our mission today is to really unpack Module 6, its core objective, using AI not just as a tutor, but as a simulator.
A simulator for the real test conditions.
Precisely. To build speed, accuracy under pressure, and that all-important mental stamina for the full exam. This is about converting knowledge into a score, turning a smart student into a strategic test taker.
Okay, let's start there. This critical shift, as you called it. Module 6 comes right after they've supposedly mastered the content. Why not just jump into full practice tests then? Why this dedicated module on timing?
It's fundamental to what the digital SAT is. It's not just a test of what you know. It's a test of how efficiently you can apply what you know under pretty strict time limits.
Performance mastery versus content mastery.
Exactly. Think about it like knowing everything about how a car engine works versus actually driving that car in a race. You need both, but the race requires applying knowledge instantly, under pressure, making split-second decisions.
That's a great analogy. Because the pressure changes things, doesn't it? Even if you know the material cold.
Absolutely. You might know the quadratic formula by heart, but finding it in your memory, plugging in the numbers accurately, doing the calculation, checking the answer, can you do all that in, say, 90 seconds or less? That gap between knowing and doing quickly and accurately under pressure, that's what Module 6 targets. And remember the adaptive nature of the test.
Right, the difficulty changes based on how you do in the first part.
Exactly. So if you mess up your pacing in the first math module, maybe you run out of time, make silly mistakes, you could actually lock yourself out of the higher scoring second module.
Wow. So poor timing isn't just losing points on questions you didn't finish. It can actually lower your potential score ceiling for the whole section.
Precisely. It's an execution failure, not necessarily a knowledge failure.
So the module tackles these twin demons. Running out of time because you get stuck, or dwelling?
Dwelling, yes. Spending way too long on one hard question.
And the other one? Fatigue. Just mentally crashing before the end.
Correct. Starting strong, but then making simple errors on easy questions in the last 30 minutes because your brain is just tired. Module 6 uses the AI to combat both.
How? By turning the AI into, what, a drill sergeant?
Maybe more like an impartial race engineer or a timer. It stops being just the friendly tutor generating endless practice. It becomes the system that enforces the constraints of the real test.
Okay, but you can't just throw someone into a full 2-hour, 14-minute simulation immediately, right? That sounds like a recipe for burnout.
Definitely not. That would be totally counterproductive. The course introduces this pressure strategically.
How does it do that?
Through the first key technique in Module 6, AI-generated timed drills, using what the course calls microsections.
Microsections. Okay, tell me more about that. Sounds manageable.
It is. The idea is to isolate the time pressure variable first. Get the student used to working intensely, but for shorter bursts. It's like interval training for the brain.
High intensity, short duration, then rest. Makes sense. So what does a prompt for one of these microsections actually look like? It has to be specific, right?
Very specific. It needs to tell the AI exactly what to do. The example provided is quite good, very direct.
Lay it on me.
The student tells the AI something like, generate a 10-question SAT math module focused on, and here you insert a specific weak area identified earlier, maybe linear inequalities. I will have 15 minutes to complete it. Start the timer now.
Okay, lots to unpack there. 10 questions, specific volume, focused on a weak area personalized practice, linking back to modules 2 and 3. 15 minutes, that's the time constraint.
Right.
But that last part, start the timer now. That feels like the real trigger.
That's the switch. It flips the student's mindset from studying to performing instantly. And think about the numbers. 10 questions in 15 minutes. That's an average of 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds per question.
Which is pretty close to the actual time they'll have on the real test for math, isn't it? We'll get to the exact numbers later, but it's in that ballpark.
It is, strategically so. It forces the student to immediately practice time management. They can't afford to dwell. They have to decide quickly. Can I solve this efficiently, or should I skip it and come back? That triage skill is vital.
Okay, but here's a potential issue. If you're always practicing in these short 10-question bursts, do you risk becoming good at sprints, but not the marathon? Does it undermine building the focus needed for the full, but nearly 100-question exam?
That's a fair question, and the course design anticipates this. These micro drills are the first stage of conditioning. Their main goal isn't endurance yet. It's about removing friction and building initial confidence with timed work.
Friction, what do you mean?
Think about doing this manually, finding 10 relevant questions on linear inequalities, maybe printing them out, setting a timer, then grading. You could easily waste 10-15 minutes just on setup.
Right, logistics.
Exactly. With the AI prompt, the setup time is basically 0. The student just types a command and goes. They can do, say, 3 intense 15-minute drills, highly focused on their weaknesses, and the time it might take to manually prep just 1.
So it maximizes the actual practice time under pressure. High yield, low overhead.
Precisely. All mental energy goes into solving problems against the clock, not into being an administrator. And because it's tied to their weak areas,
The time pressure amplifies the difficulty where they need it most.
you got it. It's personalized pressure. But completing the drill is only half the battle. The real learning happens when you analyze the performance.
Which requires moving past just feeling like, oh, that was rushed, or that felt okay.
Yes. You need data. Cold, hard data. And that brings us to the second major component, pacing feedback.
Okay, pacing feedback. This sounds like where the AI really flexes its analytical muscles.
It absolutely does. This is where the AI moves beyond generating content and becomes a performance analyst. It takes the students' raw performance data and gives them surgical, quantitative feedback on their time management.
So the student has to feed the AI the right information for this to work. They need to report their time accurately.
Yes. Precision in equals precision out. They can't just be vague. The example prompt highlights this perfectly.
Let's look at that prompt again. The student says, I completed these 10 math questions in 20 minutes. Based on the standard SAT timing of 1.59 minutes per math question, analyze my pacing and suggest where I should speed up or slow down.
See how specific that is? The student provides their actual time, 20 minutes for 10 questions, meaning 2 minutes per question on average. And critically, they provide the benchmark, the standard SAT timing, 1.59 minutes per math question.
Okay, let's pause on that number. 1.59 minutes. That's roughly 95 seconds per math question. That's the target pace they need to hit on average.
That's the calculated average needed to comfortably complete the math sections, yes. It's derived from the total time allowed and the number of questions. It's not arbitrary, it's the operational reality of the test.
So in this example, the student took 2 minutes per question when the target is 1.59. They're over by about 0.41 minutes, or roughly 25 seconds per question.
Correct. Now, basic analysis would just say you were too slow, but the AI, especially if the student provides timing per question, which the course recommends. So timing each question within the drill.
Ideally, yes. If the AI has that level of data, its feedback becomes incredibly powerful. It won't just say slow. It might say something like,
Give me an example.
okay, a hypothetical AI response could be, your average pace of 2.0 minutes is about 26% slower than the target 1.59 minutes. Analysis shows question 3 on systems of equations took you 4 minutes, significantly over budget. This might indicate a delay in recalling the solving method.
Okay. Identifying a reason for the delay knowledge retrieval.
And question 7, a complex geometry problem, took 3.5 minutes. While challenging, this suggests you might have benefited from skipping it initially and returning if time permitted, indicating a potential strategic pacing issue.
Wow. That's much more useful than just too slow. It's diagnosing why they were slow. Was it a content gap or a strategic error?
Exactly. That's the actionable insight. Regular practice tests tell you if you got it right or wrong. This tells you how you managed your time and potentially why you mismanaged it. And this applies across sections, but the targets change, right? You mentioned 1.59 for math. What about reading and writing?
Yes. Crucial difference. For reading and writing, the pace is even faster. It works out to approximately 1.19 minutes per question.
1.19 minutes. That's about 71 seconds. Significantly quicker than math.
Much quicker. And it makes sense. The cognitive task is different. Reading quickly, analyzing evidence, spotting grammar errors. It demands rapid processing. Math often involves more calculation steps.
So a student can't just apply one pace across the board. They need to internalize two different clocks, essentially.
Absolutely. Trying to use the math pace on R&W would be disastrous for timing. The AI feedback using these specific benchmarks helps train that distinction.
But wait, let me push back slightly. Is strictly adhering to 1.59 minutes for every math question realistic? Some questions are designed to be harder, multi-step problems. Don't they need more time?
That's a really important nuance. The 1.59 is the average. The expectation isn't that every question takes exactly 95 seconds. The idea is you should be solving easier questions much faster, maybe in 60 seconds, 75 seconds. That banks you time that you can then strategically spend on the harder one that might genuinely need 2 or 2.5 minutes.
So the AI's feedback isn't just you spent 3 minutes, that's bad. It's more contextual.
Exactly. If you spent 3 minutes on an easy algebra problem you should have done in 60 seconds, the AI flags that as likely a knowledge gap or lack of confidence. If you spent 3 minutes on the hardest problem in the set, and got it right,
The feedback might be different.
it might still flag the time, but the advice would shift. Maybe this consumes significant time. Ensure you've banked time from easier questions before attempting problems like this, or consider if there was a shortcut or estimation strategy you missed. It's about efficient allocation.
Got it. So it's training that internal clock, that gut feeling of this question is costing me too much right now. It teaches you when to cut your losses, guess strategically, and move on.
Precisely. It builds that critical skill of time triage. This whole feedback loop practice, measure, analyze against benchmarks, adjust strategy, turns the student into an active time manager.
Okay, so they're practicing under pressure with micro drills, getting detailed pacing feedback. But the SAT is in short bursts. It's long.
Yeah.
Really long.
Painfully long for the unprepared brain, which leads directly to the third key element of Module 6.
Which is?
Endurance training. You have to be able to sustain that focus and performance.
Right. The SAT isn't a series of sprints. It's a marathon. Or maybe like several back-to-back middle-distance races.
Maybe. But the total time is significant. Let's state it again. 2 hours and 14 minutes of demanding cognitive work.
2 hours, 14 minutes. Most high school classes aren't even that long. Exams might be 90 minutes, maybe?
Exactly. Students just aren't typically conditioned for that kind of sustained mental effort. And that leads to test fatigue.
And fatigue isn't just feeling sleepy. It actively degrades performance.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's when you start making silly mistakes on questions you actually know how to do. You misread a crucial word, drop a negative sign in math, pick the wrong evidence line in reading because your focus is just shot.
The cognitive engine is running out of fuel.
Perfect analogy. So, Module 6 directly addresses this. It prescribes building mental stamina systematically.
How does the AI help with that? Just tell you to sit there for 2 hours and 14 minutes.
No, again, it's gradual. You use the AI to build up the duration of the practice sessions. You start with those 15-minute micro drills.
Yeah.
Once you're comfortable with those and your pacing is improving, you prompt the AI for longer sessions. Maybe combine 2 weak areas. Generate a 20-question math module on geometry and advanced algebra. I will have 30 minutes.
So stringing microsections together, essentially.
Yes, then maybe simulating a full section module. Generate an SAT reading and writing Module 1 simulation with standard timing. Then maybe generate an R&W Module 1, followed immediately by an R&W Module 2 simulation, enforcing official time constraints for both.
I see. So you're gradually increasing the load, the duration of sustained focus.
Exactly like strength training. You don't walk into the gym and try to lift the absolute maximum weight on day 1. You build up gradually. The goal is to make the full 2-hour, 14-minute duration feel, well, not easy, but manageable, routine even.
You mentioned that performance often dips around the 90-minute mark. Training past that point seems crucial.
It is. That mental trough is real. If you haven't practiced maintaining focus beyond 90 minutes, your performance in that final critical math section, for example, is likely to plummet.
So the endurance training isn't just about surviving the time. It's about maintaining peak cognitive function throughout.
Right. And the module even suggests using the AI to build in strategies during these longer sessions,
Right.
like prompting it to insert reminders for brief mental resets or refocusing techniques at certain intervals.
Interesting. So simulating not just the test content and timing, but also active strategies for managing focus and energy within the test.
Yes. Building the mental resilience to stay sharp, avoid careless errors, and execute accurately even when you're an hour and a half, 2 hours in. That's the ultimate goal of the endurance piece.
So Module 6 really pulls it all together then. Personalized practice from the AI, timed drills to handle pressure, data-driven feedback on pacing, and then endurance training to last the distance.
It's a comprehensive performance conditioning system. It bridges the gap between knowing the material and delivering a top score on test day.
It transforms the student from someone who just knows stuff into someone who can execute strategically under pressure.
That's the core transformation Module 6 aims for. The student stops being passive. They become an active, data-informed strategist, optimizing every single second of that 2 hours and 14 minutes. They internalize those pacing metrics, the 1.59 for math, the 1.19 for R&W.
And the outcome, ideally, is that the score they can achieve when relaxed and untimed starts to align much more closely with the score they actually get on the official test day. It closes the performance gap.
Exactly. Module 6 is about making sure your potential translates into reality when it counts. It's mastering the clock, mastering the pressure, mastering the duration.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe a challenge for you listening.
Yeah, think about this. We've talked a lot about the AI analyzing test performance against precise metrics like 1.59 minutes per question. What if you applied that same analytical rigor to your own study habits right now?
How so?
How would you prompt an AI to analyze your study routine, not just the time spent practicing, but the time wasted, the time spent switching tasks, getting distracted, figuring out what to do next?
Could you assign like a cost to that wasted time based on the potential points lost from not doing focused timed practice instead?
Exactly. What prompt would you write to get the AI to identify those inefficiencies and suggest concrete strategies to reclaim that time for high-yield activities, like the timed drills we discussed?
That's a really interesting way to think about it. Applying that AI-driven strategic analysis not just to SAT questions, but to the preparation process itself.
That's leveraging the real power here. It's about using AI to optimize your entire approach to learning and performance, something to definitely mull over.